Hello, you lovely listeners. I'm Amy. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast, where we will delve into the minds of the business people we have met in the process of launching our first card game. We will be uncovering their secrets to success, their biggest mistakes, and sharing the key lessons they have picked up en route. So, if you're looking for an engaging chinwag mixed with business insights and a good pinch of fun, you're in the right place. Let's have a really good conversation. Hello, Therese, and welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. I was so excited when you agreed to come on this podcast because you are somebody that we stumbled across as we were entering the world of Top Drawer, trade show, and really trying to learn all about the world of retail and wholesale. And you just seem so well versed in this domain. And, we came across Small Business Collaborative, your organization, with a wealth of information. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. I think this is the perfect fit for your business.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about your backstory and what it is that you do in the retail wholesale space and how you got into it.
Well, I started in the home and gift industry, which is very much where Top Drawer businesses sit, I suppose, back in 2008. So I spent a decade selling to shops of all sizes, like small and big, and, leading a sales team and all of that. And then about 2018 I set up my business, and I've since been helping small businesses kind of like you to start and grow your wholesale. So it's quite niche what I do, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, wow. And when you were working in the home and gift previously, was that your own products or was that with other organizations?
No, I sold lots of things. I mean, I didn't set out to be in the industry. I kind of went to uni, studied fashion and textile design, moved to London thinking I would study costume designs and do a master's, decided that wasn't it, and then thought I better get a real job, basically, and stumbled into it as like a mat cover for an account manager. So I started as a sales admin. In a company that sold all sorts. So we sold a lot of like stationery. We did moleskin, for example. We did luxury handmade soaps from Portugal and Italy. And we did lots of novelty gifts and some kind of novelty beauty and home fragrance. And then I went to a book publisher that wanted to launch a new stationery line. And then I was at a different book publisher for a long time, and I kind of ran two departments. One was selling to anything but a bookshop of our own published books, and one was where I was buying books and selling them from lots of other publishers. And then after that, I was in a company that sold tabletop and kind of dog themed gifts.
Wow. And you've really been exposed then to a lot of different areas in that retail space. And
I think that my background has always been selling products to people, kind of thinking outside the box. And when I was in the first company, we sold a lot of things like nail files and tissues to people like Topshop and Accessorize when they only first started doing gifts.
Wow.
And then, my department at the book publisher was, selling a lot to, like, my biggest customer was ASOS, for example, so selling books to someone that wouldn't necessarily take books. Like it took me 2 years to get into Fat Face, for example.
Gosh, right. And just those different experiences that you've gone through, and that's why it is so fascinating when people like ourselves, we were just starting out last year and having to bring ourselves up to speed of some of the lingo and what buyers are looking for and pricing and all that sort of stuff. And you obviously have knowledge on both sides of the fence, which is obviously fascinating. What is it you're loving at the moment then through your current business, Small Business Collaborative? What is it that you love now?
I think I just love that I get to work with the business owners and the creatives, and maybe a lot of people that I work with are very creative. So it's nice to be able to kind of help them with a different part of their business, I suppose. And just being part of their I mean, this sounds so cheesy, but to be part of that journey a little bit, I think is really nice. I met so many small businesses at trade shows and stuff when I was working for someone else. And it's just so nice to be able to work with those businesses now. I think especially the fact that so much thought goes into the products and so much thought around like the building ethical businesses or sustainable businesses, not necessarily only that, but to at least make that part of their business in one way or another, whether it is completely or just steps for it. I think it's fun to be working with businesses that really care.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you were just mentioning there as well with creatives, there's so many amazing creative people that can create a fantastic product, but that's literally half the story, because actually, it is this whole business side of it. So the operational side, all that logistics and the actual, making money from that product as well. So some creative minded people, may not have as many of those skills on that side to actually then go, oh, I actually need to promote this and sell this. And that part is almost even harder than making the product.
I think it's like for a lot of creators that I work with, that becomes like the secondary thought, right? They had an idea, they went with their idea, and then they realized actually to like make a living out of that idea, they also have to sell it. And that might not, I'm not, I just think that is hard when you maybe don't see yourself as a salesperson, for example. Like I always say in my bio that I'm like an introvert in sales, because I think we have this idea what a salesperson is, and when you have your own business you have to be the salesperson of your business, unless you have a lot of budget and you can just pay someone else to do it. You still have to manage that salesperson if you did have that money, so you kind of have to know the basics at least. But it's nice to be able to help people with that and make them realize that it's very much a process, and it's something that can be learned quite, I guess, easily in comparison to certain other things. Once you know how to sell, you have something to fall back on all the time. Like it's not like you learn how to sell shops and that's taken away from you next week because the algorithm changes. It doesn't really change.
What have you been seeing are the biggest challenges then that face these small businesses, these creative types, people trying to get a product out there? What do you think is the biggest challenges going on for them?
I mean, it's good to focus on the creatives, right? But I do find that they can't forget about the business side, I suppose. You have to think about how you're going to sell it and bring it to market. It can't be the afterthought, I guess. I mean, like, it's two ways of seeing it, right? You hear people saying, well, if you create a good product, it will sell itself. But you also have to have people know about the product for it to sell. So I guess the biggest challenge is that kind of like, what is going to be your sales channels, and like trying to do everything. Someone talking about, we all see these waves in small business. I'm sure you see it with your clients on the other side of your business as well, in your business. One day it's like Instagram Reels, then the next day is you should be on LinkedIn, the next day is like you should be on TikTok, and all these things. And like we get all this FOMO, and like to just wade through all of that noise, I think is a big challenge.
Absolutely. And like exactly what you said, it is that trying to be on everything, and especially if you're starting out and you're small. And for us, really good conversations has happened really quite organically, and it was a passion project. And now Alex and I are like, oh, we need to do something more on Instagram. We're gonna let's have a go on TikTok, and there we are putting up videos of ourselves and things. And in our other area of business, we work clients on strategies, but don't actually do that implementation of appearing in things ourselves. So
it's so interesting that you work on strategy with your other business, but so maybe you do it more. But I think all those like must should haves often small business owners jump on it without knowing the purpose of doing those things instead of focusing on where this money will come from.
Would you have any key tips or advice for anyone who is just either starting out or they're looking to try and get into wholesale, or they're considering a trade show?
I think if you're thinking about doing your first trade show, I think the most common thing I see people do is to not really understand that pricing before they go. I think is really crucial with anything you do in your business, is to really understand your pricing and know that you can offer something that is attractive and competitive to the retailers, and understand why they need that money, because so I think it's really, really important.
Well, thank you for sharing that nugget, Therese, because that totally resonated with me. And it's a big world out there with online retail, in stores and stuff. And I know we could talk at length for hours on that topic. But the other thing I was really keen to speak to you about today was to actually have a little go on our really good conversation card. And this is obviously going to be quite freestyle because you don't know the cards, but I have picked out from our really good conversations for kids, which this launched last month and is a bit more creative thinking future, opening the mind, and basically having it a bit of fun. And even though we have said it's for kids, really we are all big kids. So I thought we would pick from this pack today. So I've got 3 questions. 1, what would you do if you were invisible?
Ooh, I'd love to be invisible. That would be fun, right? I don't know. How long would I be invisible for?
As long as, your imagination would like it to be invisible for.
Well, I guess it would just be nice to be able to, well, if it's in this life, like it is now, and I cannot time travel. And then I guess just being able to just go and observe people. I like looking people watching, and to be allowed to listen into all those conversations without them feeling intruded on. I don't know. There's so many things I would want to find out.
Absolutely. I think, if you think about maybe some of those real poignant conversations that have happened in time, maybe it's between key figures or people, it's wow, I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Exactly.
With that, wouldn't you? And I think, at the moment would probably be when our son is with somebody else being child-minded, I'm I'd love to be a fly on the wall of what he's actually with when we're not there, or what he gets up to as well. So perfect. Well, I love your answer of just sort of going and listening in on, conversations and, watching, observing people. One for you. The second question I've got for you is, what new invention does the world need?
I don't know what. I mean, if it can be anything, if I'm thinking without any restrictions, I guess it's such a cheesy one, but something to get people to get along, I guess, would be nice. There's a lot of rubbish that happens in the world. It would be nice if people could just be a bit nicer to each other sometimes, I think.
Absolutely. And it's funny as well, I think, on that is, I think when we were coming out of some of the COVID times, lockdowns and stuff, there was a lot of compassion for each other and time. And I feel like we have forgotten all of that now.
Yes.
So you're did we just forget about all of that happened? And now people are back being a bit rude to each other or whatever. You're right, that was short-lived.
I think that is so important, without being political, but the clapping for the NHS and then now just nothing.
Yeah. Interesting human beings, aren't we? And the third question I've got for you today is, when do you feel most excited?
Ooh, I don't know. I can get excited about lots of things. New stationery, new experiences, new food. I don't know, seeing new things. But I think it's appreciating the little things and remembering to recognize. I mean, maybe this has to do with therapy, but just to recognize when you're actually feeling excited about something, I think it's nice to just take that moment. I don't know if I have one thing that I think is like the most exciting thing in the world. Because I mean, I could get excited just looking at the spreadsheet, which probably most people can't.
I do love a good spreadsheet. I will admit as well. No, that's awesome. I think, like you said, it is, and that's what I think we've put a couple of other questions in this particular kids pack to tap into perhaps that gratitude.
Yeah.
And people, we try to at the end of each day when we're having dinner, Alex and I will say, okay, what have we been grateful for today? We don't always remember to do it, but again, it's like then it is the little thing. It might literally be, oh, you made me a coffee, or I had things of a lunch.
What do you get excited about?
Oh, I tell you what, actually, today has been blue sky.
Oh, yes, the sun today I got very excited about.
Today, that has been my excitement of today, of like, oh my goodness, it's blue sky, because I feel like it's just been grey drizzle.
Yeah, it has. And also the sun is warm today.
Yes. Exactly. So,
even if the air is fresh, it's like the sun is actually warm.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you with the whole little things. That gets me excited. We obviously have had, lots of exciting times in this journey so far. Doing the top drawer, we got to meet you in person there, and then we came to Spring Fair, and you were.
What has been the most exciting in your business so far? This business, of course.
Oh,
because it's a new business.
Oh, I think probably like every time you get a sale online, whether it's on Shopify or Etsy, and it like goes ka-ching.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, again, it's very humbling experience, when you do email someone, wholesalers, or you're trying to reach out, and then someone actually, sometimes even just someone replying, even if they're not interested or whatever, but then when they are interested, it's that constant like, oh my goodness, this is really exciting. So I think we also try to bottle those feelings as much as possible, because I think in business, certainly there's many times then you go, oh my God, why are we doing this again? And the overwhelm and the to-do list, you think it's mountain to climb as well. But that's been so awesome to chat to you, Therese. I have a final question, a closing question that I ask everyone on this podcast is, if you could ask any person, dead or alive, a question, who would it be and what would you ask them?
So I thought about this, and then I thought, oh, is that answer really boring? But this is the one question, the cards I didn't know about, but this question I knew about. So
I thought this could go. You might want a lot of time to think about this. So this one before the session.
Well, so I'm adopted from Korea, and at the moment I'm learning Korean, and I've only recently gotten a bit interested in it. So I would love to ask my birth mum about her life.
Wow.
So that would be interesting. That's what I find interesting right now.
Yes, and probably so it's different stages in your life that you're thinking, right, at this stage in my life, that is actually something that, yes, I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. And ultimately, I guess this is why we created the cards, to hear these stories from people and to hear people's opinions on the world or experiences that they've had.
I think that's really nice, where we forget sometimes to be good at talking to each other. We talk to people all the time, but to actually talk with curiosity.
Exactly. And I mean, we had a good chat before we even started this, and it's like I joked we could sit here and record this now. And I think, through our experience and us getting excited, it's just been the people I guess we've met on this journey, and hearing your stories, because when you're not in that world and you hear other people's journeys and backstories, you're like, wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
You've not done it yourself, you have no idea, and it feels so alien as well. But thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it, and it's been awesome just to connect with you through our journey. How can anyone listening find out more about you and what you do for small businesses as well?
So I spend too much time on Instagram, so that's always a good place. It's small_business_collaborative, or my website is smallbusinesscollaborative.co.uk. So those are probably the best places.
Brilliant. And I will add the notes into the show notes as well. Will you be anywhere in person this year? Again, you were speaking Birmingham Spring Fair. Have you got any other talks and events that you're going to be attending?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I will definitely be at Top Draw in the autumn and autumn fair. I just realized today I will not be at Harrogate because that's actually when I go to Korea. So I had to cancel my hotel because I've the worst part is I booked it on the same platform. So I booked 2 hotels for 2 different countries without realizing.
I mean, that would be good if intuitively that platform would flag it up.
Yeah.
You already have a booking on this date.
To be fair, on the platform, we probably didn't.
And you're like, oh no, who's that? That's not me.
Yeah. So I just realized today I'm actually away during Harrogate, so I won't be going to that anymore. But normally I would go there. But yeah, so definitely in the autumn.
Brilliant. Oh, well, you have an amazing time away. And thank you again for your time and also just the knowledge and learnings that you share, through your social channels and platforms. I think a lot of people, can learn an awful lot from you. So, thank you again. And thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on today's guests. And if really good conversations are your thing, hit subscribe and join us next time for more business journeys, insights and banter.